it right there.
Yes. Well,
All right, here we
hope you had a
go.
good week.
Come on, Mr. Facebook. Taking this week. There we go. All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are here again. One more time. Let me get us on picture. There we go. Now, good morning, everybody. Good morning. We're here again on Texas in Color with the Friday edition show. We've been doing this show for a while, and I am pleased to have Dr. Veronica M. Brooks with us and George Green. I mean, y'all make the show. I'm letting you know, y'all make sure. I like hearing Dr. Brooks when she get going. Oh boy, you get out of her way because she tell it like it is.
I-
And Mr. Green sort of break things down. He is our go-to person for information because being
Yeah.
there in Texas, and he's been with the some task force and stuff, so he knows the inside and out of Texas. What makes it good? Me, I'm just here. I like asking questions and learning, and I'm learning every time that we have this show.
Well,
So,
well,
without further ado, Mr. Green, good morning
thank
to
you
you,
for
sir.
that. And I want to say good morning to everyone. I first want to break the news that I did file January 15th for the City of New Braunfels City Council position, District 1. And that's a position that I've won twice before. The people in the district has come to me and asked that I run again. So that is the brand new news. So we're back in it again.
Congratulations,
Congratulations.
congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm so
Wow.
glad you're running.
Yes, same here. All right, Dr. Veronica Brooks, good morning to you too.
Yes. Good morning. And I'm so happy. That's good news to start off with
That's
with
right.
Mr. Green there. I'm just gonna call it in advance, our councilman that is gonna win for sure.
Oh,
And
thank
I
you.
can say that, right? Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
But
you.
always good to be here and just learn. I keep learning so much just by talking about everything. And I actually saw the voting for the Speaker of the House, where it was Destin Brower.
Yeah, Bauer.
Ha- Bowers have, yeah, that won that election. But yep, I'm here again today, and I am Dr. Veronica Brooks. I guess I better introduce myself. And I am a three-time author, retired from the federal government Department of Defense in the acquisition arena as the contracting specialist and contracting officer, awarding all that money and things like that. And I just in December celebrated my 42nd year of my anniversary, my
Oh,
wedding anniversary with my husband and I.
congratulations.
I know it's like, golly, we got married too young. I mean, we were kids. It's like, wow.
No,
But
y'all
yeah,
didn't.
no, it's like, God, it's like forever, right after the high school and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was another thing, and I'm just really grateful to be here today.
Well,
Congratulations.
Thank
yeah,
you.
to share everything since Mr. Green and Dr. Brooks got good news, I got some somewhat good news. On Tuesday, January 21st, don't y'all fall out your chairs. I'll be turning 70 years old.
What? Oh
You look 40.
my goodness. I want some of what you're taking, Ron.
Oh
I want some of
man,
that.
I'm telling you, it feels good to reach that milestone with everything out there. And I remember a long time ago. I really never shared this with too many people, but I was swimming. I think I was 12 years old. I was swimming up in Illinois, where we were at by Lake Michigan. The thing they call the sand pits. That water comes in, we jump in there, we dive, and just have fun. Well, one day I dove in there, and one of those sinkholes came,
Oh.
And I was always taught never fight it. Just let it bring you down and bring you back up. Well, I panicked. I
Oh.
panicked. I thought I was gone. And this is no joke. This is the truth. Some voice came to me and said, "Go back. It's not your time."
Mm.
I remember that to this day. And I've been trying to figure out what they were meaning or God was meaning by this is not your time.
Mm.
And doing these shows and things that I do for community, I see what they were talking about. There's still more for me to do, even at the age 70. And I
Wow.
don't take that lightly. So Veronica would tell you I worked. Matter of fact, Veronica told me the other day to sit down and rest. So I don't take it
Yes.
lightly, the things that I do. I think
Yeah.
it's fun. I love doing what I'm doing. I love bringing things to the people out here of what's going on, especially with Texas in color. This is a way for us to inform and educate Texans on what's going on in the political arena.
Very nice.
Right. Yeah, Ron, happy birthday. It's, you it it's just people don't even live past 16,
Yeah.
actually, to be honest. It's like you already then you do so much, you're already doing everything. Mr. Green, he even does be managing other people's property while they're living overseas.
Wow.
And he does a top-notch job. And
Awesome.
then,
Thank you.
he even a photographer, even took pictures for, even for me to be, on these shows and be with people, different people that were in Hollywood too. And I
Awesome.
said, man, I mean, he just does everything, and he just keeps going. And I'm like, golly, Ron, you gotta rest.
Thank
You
you for
gotta
those
rest.
kind words, Dr. Brooks.
But just totally awesome.
Okay.
We need people like Ron. In fact, if we could clone Ron, that would be great.
Oh, I told my
There's,
Yes,
wife
there,
that. My
there's,
wife said, "No,
I
I can
just
only
said
do it
that.
one round at a time."
What?
there's
Sharon.
not enough of him to go around.
So, thank you, everybody. I
Yes.
appreciate it. Now
Yeah.
let's get on to this. The 89th Texas Legislature that started the session that started.
Yes.
It started off with a bang.
Yes.
With electing the Speaker of the House. Did it have to go 2 votes?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
Yeah, because I watched it. I wasn't physically there, but I was watching the whole thing because somebody came in and gave it a document saying that, well, given instructions of they had to have at least 76 votes. And then there was questions asked saying, what if they didn't reach that? Well, they have to keep voting until basically they reach that. So finally, on the second round, it was Barrows who got 85 votes, I believe.
Okay.
And then so he's the House Speaker of the House.
Right. So that took a lot of dealing. We knew it was going to be a battle.
Yeah, that was
I think
long.
we knew that from Jump Street. It was going to be a battle, but now it's said and done. Here it said. Now before we get started, I want to read some deadlines we should know about this 89th going into place. It started off January 14th.
Yes.
Okay. Then March 14th is the deadline for filing new bills.
Mm-hmm.
June 2nd is the final day of the session. June 22nd is the final day the governor can sign a bill that will go into effect September 1st. Just to let everybody know these are some of the deadlines that's going to be there. And in between there, they get to show their butts, I would say, who's ever for what. And it was very interesting on how it started. So now we're starting to get into the meat and potatoes of what bills and all that. From reading what I read earlier, it's a shoo-in that the school voucher will pass. That's what they're saying, but it's still a battle for that by itself because not everybody's on board about this. And I was looking for the calendar to see that was going to come up because that's the time I want to go down there. I want to go down there and see that battle because it's going to be a battle.
So
For
would
and
that be the
against.
one on March 14th? That's the end of the bill or something because they're submitting for the voucher, correct?
Yeah, with March 14th, the deadline for filing new bills, not the ones that's out there now.
Okay.
But if anybody will file something new, they got until March 14th to do that.
Oh, okay. So
Yes.
this
So
bill has been going on with the what was it, the school vouchers, and the voucher is simply for what?
give 9,088 $9,800 something dollars to people to help put their kids in private school. It's not paying for the whole thing. There's not one private school in the state of Texas that tuition is $10,000 a year. It's not none
For each student.
for each student. The cheapest school I found was $11,000, and that was a smaller private school.
I don't know
So
why
it
they
could go
even
from
have to
eleven
have this.
thousand up to $50,000 a year to put your child in private school.
Okay, so I don't understand why they have to even have a voucher. Just pay for the school, period. You know what I'm saying? But they have to have it, I guess, because all these other laws that are coming up.
Yes.
But my thing is that enough?
No, that's not enough. That's just a little sprinkle. That's
So
not
even
even
yeah,
totally
so
enough.
why not even raise it up either higher or either don't have the voucher and just take care of the children. Make sure the children are taken care of way above and beyond because they're the kids. They're the kids of tomorrow, basically. Why can't you just settle and just have I know we all have to have budgets and things like that. Well, set a decent budget and then help the schools are I would have to look at exactly their plan because we definitely have to have a plan. We have to budget it out. This is what I talk about actually in one of my books. I talk about the goal, the plan, and the strategy. If you have that goal, what you want to accomplish, and then you plan it out all the way detail plan out and then you strategize of what you're going to do, so you need to make that whole budget amount. So I don't really understand, what they're trying to do. Are you trying to hurt the children? Are you trying to harm the families? Or are you really trying to help the families with this voucher? See, that I need clarity on that.
Yeah, and I think you're right, Dr. Brooks. There will be clarity. I think in theory, most people agree that something should be done with public education. Voucher is an option out there, and it's not all completely worked out yet because there's some details in how to spread that taxpayer money to pay for private education. And so I think those are some of the things that are going to be negotiated, if you would, during the process before and if they pass vouchers in this session. So there's a lot to be worked out yet. In theory, I think most people are in agreement. We should do something. It's just a matter of what and to the tune of how much. That's the other fine point. So there's going to be a lot of put it politely, negotiating going on before it is finalized.
You
Yeah,
know,
because I know private school, it costs quite a bit. I know personally, when you put your kids and even your grandkids through a private school. But then what about the public schools? Are they just going to shut them down completely? You see what is really going on?
what I see growing up, when we had kids in the neighborhood or around that went to private schools, the first thing that stuck in our head, oh, their family's wealthy, they're rich. In order to go to private schools, they're paying for private schools. If that's the case, why do we need to send them money if they're already putting their kids in private school? I get it when they say we want everybody to have that opportunity. Well, if you don't have the money, you're not going to have that opportunity.
Exactly.
That's just point blank on how it is. And I do get it that there's a lot of fat in the public schools that need to be trimmed. I understand that. Absolutely there is. That's what our school board is there for. But they're so busy getting people elected to the school board to turn around and ban books, they're forgetting what their duties are and what they should be doing. If there's fat out there need to be trimmed, trim that fat. We won't have that problem. But they're going about it, to me, they're going about it the wrong way. They want to dangle a carrot in front of everybody saying, hey, I'm going to give you this much money. It even goes down to people who homeschool as private school. They get $4,000 for each student. So are we buying this?
Yeah. See, they need to really look at the kids. We need to pay attention to the children. You have to look at a child that doesn't have much at all. You have to be fair across the board. You don't just give, to me, you wouldn't just give a private school everything that they wanted. And I know that's not enough money, especially in the private school industry. I know it's not because I know about the private schools and how much it costs. And so my thing is, you can't just do that and give it to a private school and not think about the children. The children, each child, everybody should be fair across the board. Everybody, every child, especially American. Because if you're born, raised in America, you take care of the American people, period. We don't just throw them out the way. We take care of them. We take care of our own. I lived in so many countries and I see what they do. They take care of the education. They take
Yeah.
care of even the hospitals, the doc. They don't even have to pay for that. I mean, even in Australia, even you everywhere, even in Bahrain, they always pay for the whole thing. There's no questions about it. If you decide to go even to college or to school or whatever, everything is paid for. So my thing is we got to really think about the children. We don't want no child left out. Even if they needed special needs or whatever, that no child should be left out. That's how I see that.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we haven't come to a finalization on this school voucher option. There's a lot that needs to be worked out, and as you said, no one wants any child to be left behind, and we want fair and equity out there with our children, and those are some of the details that our legislators got to get worked out before the governor signs any kind of voucher bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike, why is it such a struggle to help out a child? That's why I don't get. It's hard for me to comprehend. And then I get up, like in an uproar because then you know how I get. And then so my thing is that's a child. Mr. Green, I was so furious. Actually, it was yesterday when I found out the breakdown of them with that nurse. That nurse was going in, breaking the children's bones when they're born. It was a nurse, the newborn children. Well, they come to find out, they broke it down even further. They were all Black children. She was breaking their bone premature, that where they were born early, they were breaking the bones. This particular nurse that they rehired knew what she was doing and been doing it for years. But she was doing it to black babies. Then they broke it down even further. They were all male babies, all boy babies. So see, children, again, what are we really doing? And what is really going on? So I really get intense. And then what happens to the black community, it's hard for us to trust any white person. This is what happens. We're almost literally afraid to trust somebody, just even in the hospital, in the schools, wherever it's hard for us. We're backing off, and then what we do, we put up a guard, and then what happens? We're ready to fight if they come at us. See, this is the problem, and this is how all the animosity comes, because it's things like that. Because you're going to take an innocent child and hurt a newborn baby. What is
yes, there's unfortunately, there's a lot of things going on out there that are really beyond comprehension, and that's one of many, and it's sad indeed. I mean, what can we do? I mean, we have to continue to be vigilant about what's happening to our children, and take the appropriate actions as a result. It is really, really sad. I heard a bit about that story, and yes, Dr. Brooks, it was sad. And as far as trust, nowadays it's trust is difficult to come by, and the old saying, "In God we trust." That's where I put my trust wholeheartedly, and so we need to continue to lean on that, and be vigilant as to what's happening with our children out there.
Yes, because that's why when we're talking about these vouchers, I'm looking, and when I see somebody is just going to do something like that for the private schools, and then really neglect the public schools, yet it's almost like you're firing darts at the public schools, and then you're yanking out the books, and a lot of the books are by African American. So then here it goes again. See, we try to combine, and then I even have to ask my friends, because I have white friends too, and I said it's just hard for us to trust because of things like that. And actually they get upset more than me, because they're mad at the white people because of what they're doing, and I don't blame them. But it's hard for us because we don't know who's who. We don't know who's who. And that's why when we're talking about the vouchers, and then you're working on that. My thing is, where is the mindset of even the legislators? Where's the mindset of what they're thinking about the children? Because when I see stuff like this, then I'm thinking they're not thinking about the children, because you want to yank out the history, because basically your side is embarrassed of what you've done. My thing is, you don't want us to know, you don't want the children to know, but then we have to put the parents accountable of teaching the children the history.
Yeah. Well, and I think, back to the speaker race, it was an interesting vote between Representative Cook and Representative Burrows, and the split. If you go to look at that race and what the split was ultimately all about, and Burrows won out eventually, is a big fight over where our leadership is going, which gets to what you're saying, Dr. Brooks, is that Burroughs was Representative Burroughs is looked upon to be able to find some kind of an agreement with the other party. Basically, it was a race between the Republican representatives. Representative Cook was way farther to the right. Representative Burroughs was looked upon as being able to find somewhat of common ground with the Democratic Party, and even to the point of appointing leaderships of different committees. So I think we're going down a road now with Representative Burroughs as to one that can find some common ground. I frankly was surprised, but pleasantly surprised. So I think we're going to get some things done with the new leadership there with our House Speaker.
Well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Yes, it is.
I hope they can do something, but I just don't know how they're going to mend even the Black community with the actually white community until they show some ground there, because it's just too many things happening in our community and it's hard for us to trust. That's why we look for everything, people that look like us, who we're just going to deal with.
And you're exactly right, Dr. Brooks. We need more people of color in some of these leadership positions. We need more of us running for different positions, so as to bring forward what our interests are, and that's why I'm staying in the race, because over the years, as I've seen, we've lost a lot of the people of color, both Black and brown, in our legislature. I mean, you can go back 20 years, 30 years, and you can see how that number has dropped. So people like yourself, Dr. Brooks, or myself, we need to stay in the race and continue to hold up the bloodstream banner. That's the old saying.
Okay,
Yeah, that's good. That's good right
You're
there.
talking
Yeah.
about.
Thank you.
We're still on the vouchers, so I gotta just read something here. They're stating that the voucher will not be passed early because it's things they need to work out.
Okay.
And one of them is potential impact on local schools.
Mm-hmm.
That's one right there. And then later on down the line, they mention some of the action need to be taken by this session is the accountable to our public school students, educators, and school employees. So right now they're inviting parents, community members who believe in the vision for thriving public education system from pre-K to higher education to join and signing up and speaking. So that's telling me right there that yes, you got somebody that's really pushing this and pushing it. On the other hand, they really feel they don't have the votes to pass it early. So they're gonna wait a little bit before they even bring it to the table.
So
And
maybe they're thinking about
is,
what
is
they're
that a smart
actually.
move for them to do that?
Well, maybe it sounds like if they're going to do it for it's like they're thinking. They're thinking. It seems like to me, that's showing me a good sign, basically, because they're thinking about their actions and maybe probably thinking about the kids, hopefully. And maybe they got to adjust some things.
Sorry, absolutely. It's a good thing. It's a smart thing, Ron, because as I was saying earlier, there are still a lot of things to be worked out. And before they can get, a majority vote on this voucher, those are some of the issues that you just mentioned that they have to get worked out. The accountability, what's going to happen with how is it going to affect public schools, as you were saying, Dr. Brooks? So yes, it's just not a go in there, raise your hand up and vote, get it done kind of thing. It's not going to be passed till later on in the session, only after they have, you know, found answers to some of the questions that are out there. So, yeah, that is a smart thing to do.
Because
Mm.
we do have some counties in Texas that don't have a private school. I wonder if they're considering that. If you pass that, so what's going to happen? You're going to get these fly-by-nighters that set up a private school right away, and them counties don't have one, so they can collect some of that government money. We got to look at things like that, and it's going to affect our kids if that happens. Do we have qualified teachers right now to teach? Some were saying, yes, we do, but no, we don't, because we got a shortage of teachers. And are we going to give the teachers a pay raise? See, I'm talking about public schools, not private. What are we going to do to maintain public schools? Teachers been dying for a raise for years. Right now, I'm looking at it. We got a $20 billion surplus. Now, what's that old saying? You got that money, it's burning a hole in your pocket. You got to spend it. Well, on the other hand, right here, they're not spending anything. They're holding the money from public schools. So if you got that much of a surplus, what is the problem? Or
Right.
the other
Right.
question is this: who's paying for that voucher? Will that voucher last for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? How's that money gonna keep on going in to pay for these school vouchers? Have they thought about that? That's probably why they're thinking now. We got the money now, but what about later on when we're down to nothing and we're in the red in the state of Texas? Vouchers going to cease. So they got to look ahead of what's going to happen.
Yeah, Ron, you said a whole lot there because I always um that was one of my complaints too about paying the teachers because I think a teacher should be paid at least six figures. That's what I believe. I think, just because they're putting everything into it. If once you find a good teacher, and then they'll stay in there and they'll teach, and your child will learn a whole lot, I believe. But then now we have to find, good teachers, people that will really want to teach the children and build up our children to be a success when they grow up and live their dreams. So when it comes to the teachers should be first of all paid well. I believe that with firefighters. I believe that with police officers that are good police officers that are really for the people. The doctors, things like that. I think they should be well taken care of because they're taking care of your children, your family, your health. All those things are highly important. And I think they should be very well taken care of, especially in our education arena. Just take care of the whole everything in it. One of my clients, I have to really bring this up because one of my clients I had, because I was talking about wealth, my books on building and creating wealth, was a teacher. And he said, Veronica, I said, I don't know what to do. The kids, their grades are low because the parents can't help them with their homework because they're speaking Spanish. And at school, the kids are learning everything in English. And I said, okay, well, this is something I came up with a strategy for him. And he said, God, I'm paying all this money trying to get all this extra uh product for the kids, just trying to help them to learn all his time, but he's getting behind on his home bills, his car bills. I said, okay, so we're going to do this. I said, what you're going to do, since the parents can't afford to learn the English because they had to pay like $3,000 and all this stuff to get a good solid training for how to speak, English. I said, you're going to get the parents, train them on the weekend, and you just charge them like whatever. If you're going to charge them $50 or $100, you do that. So he ended up doing that. And then, he had about 10 of them. To make a long story short, he got about 10. And so they're paying him for 1 hour. I said, you just teach that English for 1 hour in bits and pieces of English to the 10 group of 10 people. The parents started learning the English, and just everything just worked out. So he had like from 8 to 9, he had a group. Then from 10 to 11, he had another group. Then so on and so on. He had so many people because they start talking and spreading everything that, oh man, we got somebody to teach us the English. Everything worked out. It became a win-win situation because he was able to pay off his house, his car. The students' grades went all the way up, and the parents learned the English. See, this is why I said if we take care of our teachers, there's a whole peace of mind, and they love teaching, but they need help. They can't just be using their personal money trying to get supply, trying to do all this. But that was one of the things I end up having him to do. And then he started teaching on Friday after he got off work, and then on Sunday and on Saturday and Sunday. He was doing it on the weekend, and then the next thing I knew, everything blew up. And I said, he was so grateful. And so just little things like this, teachers are so important. And this is so important not only to the teachers, but to the students that want to learn. And I know being in school and things like that, every student, they really want to learn. It's just people, they learn different. Everybody doesn't learn the same. So you need a teacher to really recognize where they're at so they can build them. And so this is why it's important to take care of the educational arena and don't toil with it. Go ahead on and just fix it.
Yeah, since you said that, we got a comment right here from Judy. She said, unfortunately, teacher pay raise will be tied to vouchers legislation. At least that's where it is right now.
Well, see, they need to fix that. See, this is where I'll be. See, this is why I'm here on this end, because see, we don't need to waste that time. We need to take care of the teachers, and I think all the teachers should always make six figures. That's just how it is. That's what I think.
Yeah. I want to thank our friend Judy for making that comment. I know her. She is a ESL teacher, English as a second language teacher, and they are very, very valuable.
Mm-hmm.
And what she is saying in her comment is leading to, in order for the governor to sign a bill, I believe it at present state, it's tied to whether or not teachers get pay raises. Now, whether you agree with that approach or not, that's a different thing. But presently, that's the way it states. You're not going to get teacher raises until you pass this private voucher bill. So that's where the negotiating is starting to come in.
So, Mr. Green, let me ask you something. I'm sort of stuck right here on how the money is raised from school districts. There's taxes. Now, is some of those taxes being taxed to our school district? Is it education tax or school tax that goes back to the state?
It goes back to the state. Each student, there's a fee charged to each student per day. And that money goes back to the state, then the state divvies it out back to the school districts. So the saying is the money should follow the student. If that is the case, and if that student goes to a private school, then that money theoretically should go to that school, which means that public school is going to lose out on those funds. So that's where the battle is going to come in.
Okay.
See,
See the
they're
point.
only
Go ahead, Veronica.
see they're only focused. See, you just said that they're putting it in that voucher, right? So it almost leaves out the public school, correct? If they're just going to use the voucher for the private school, right? So my thing is their focus is wrong because the focus, like I said, should be on on the child. They're not thinking about the children because, like I said, no child should be left behind and no great teacher should be left behind. That's why they have to, I think they should pay what I think they should be paid just because they're putting everything into the student. That these kids are with the teacher, what, 8 hours a day? It's like, wait a minute, they need to really have something that they can really fall back on. So if we're putting all that money, let's say into the voucher, won't they just make it for every school? Why not just the private school? Because what they want to do, they must want to direct everything what that private school is going to be teaching just the way they like to be what they want to be taught, I guess. I should say they want certain things to be taught their way, especially in, I guess, the Christianity way or whatever way they're pointing at, because a lot of the private schools are based upon Christianity. It's either Catholic or Protestant or whatever the case may be. So they just want that way, but everybody is not.
well,
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 They're not like, I'm serious, everybody's not that. So that's why, where's the children fit in? So that's why we have to focus on the children and what they're learning, whether it's the basic things, math, English, science. Those things are basic things that they need to learn. History, those things are basic.
which brings to this point right here. Public schools are mandated to teach curriculum that's mandated by the state. Private school, for what I've been reading, state has nothing to do with that. Like you said, it's how they want to teach the basic and all that stuff. So on one hand, they're mandated to learn what the state put out. The state go through the books, they go through everything they should be taught on, all that's done. So in the private sector is different. So what about the books that are banned in public schools? Those same books could be read in a private school setting. I'm just playing devil advocate here. So how can we on one hand do one and not the other? Who controls the private sector when it comes down to education?
But that's a good point, Ron, and that's part of the issue. Private schools are more independent, I could put it that way, as opposed to the public schools are more regulated. And you could imagine a discussion that we're having, the three of us, if you get 150 of us together in a room trying to come together on this whole issue. You could see where this could easily be drawn out to June 2nd, final day of the session. So having a speaker like Burrows, Representative Burrows, I think will help guide some of these discussions. But that's a big issue. Private schools are more independent. You don't have that much regulation with them versus the public schools. They're highly regulated by our State Board of Education and some of the others.
Okay, so we need to go. So if the public school is more guided by the state, you said, regulations and things like that, maybe they need to kind of fix that too. I just think overall they should just pay for education, period, for the kids. That should just cover it. They need to just cover the schooling. And then too, you have some rules and stipulation there because the kids got to be at school. because there's some parents that you have to actually train as well, because some parents, have to make sure their kids are at school, they have the breakfast, they have the lunch, make sure that they have all the vitamins that they need to focus in on doing the work in school. I can see that part being a lot as far as on the parent side, but I think all the education should just be paid for, period. Nobody should be arguing over anything. And to me, I would just throw out that voucher thing, because it sounds like it's just pointing at something. If they want to help the private school with more of their money and stuff, that's okay. But just go ahead on and pay for all the public school education and be done with it. Don't waste everybody's time, and don't waste the taxpayers' money sitting up there discussing because somebody wants a voucher for private school. Well, go ahead on and give them their private little stuff, but go ahead on and pay for all the education so kids can get all the education.
Well, Dr. Brooks, I would encourage you to definitely attend one of those sessions in Austin when they're opening their arms up and asking for public input. So I would definitely have my voice heard up there in the Capitol and let them know how you feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. With that being said, we're gonna close things out because time just flew by.
Already?
I love it when discussions like this and it happens, and I love it that we actually see what they're doing, and we're not nitpicking. We just want to know what they're gonna do. So I'm start off with you, Dr. Brooks, for your final thoughts.
Yes, every time I learn with you all in these sessions here, because I learn more and more, and I think it's easing my I don't know, I get upset, like I said, when things just don't make sense to me. But when I get the clarity, and then you can point out what is actually going on there, we just that needs to be fixed. And I need to look at everybody, whether they're Democrat or whether they're Republican, you know, either or, I have to look at the thinking of what they are really thinking there. We got to really point those things out about the children, because I think that is so vital and that is so important. So yeah, you're right. I probably have to be down there and just say what I need to say.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mr.
and
Green,
get it
your
done
final
and
thoughts?
over with. That's what I need to do is yeah, but man, I might interrupt the whole thing. But yeah, I know I need I'm still just, I think I didn't, tame down a little, but then ain't gonna be too much, especially when it comes to the kids.
Okay. Mr. Green, your final thoughts.
Well, yes, I do want to thank everyone for listening in and taking part. I'm glad to see that there's involvement with with uh, with our legislators and what's going on there in Austin. I'm encouraged to see the progress that we made with our Speaker of the House. And as everyone can tell, it is quite an involvement, and it takes everyone to make progress and get involved. Texas legislature, the 89th session, we will make progress with the help of public input. So thank everyone for tuning in, and I encourage you to get your representative involved, and you also involved in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, I like to ditto what both of y'all said, because we definitely need that involvement with everybody. I'm getting there. This is it's two sides to every story. Like I say, his side, her side, and the truth. So I don't think we're really looking for the truth. We're just looking for action on what we're gonna do. Because regardless whatever happens, somebody's not gonna like it. That's just how it is. We have never got 100% of people like anything that was passed. Is we have to learn how was ever passed. I hate to say this, but we have to live with it and move on, and then worry about the next session coming up. How can we put people in place to change some of this? But right now, what is done, And we just got, it's hard to swallow that pill, but we got to abide by it because it's the law. Even though if we like it or not, that's just how it is. And
I didn't know we abide by laws. I thought we have to do like the one that's being put in office. We don't abide by, You, I thought we do just like the leaders, right? Okay.
no,
I'm
no,
just
no, no,
saying.
no.
I'm just
We got to
saying.
live up to our standards and what we do. I want to give a shout out again to Judy. She's really patting our backs on this one. She said this was the best show ever so far.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
So thank you, Judy, for watching and giving some feedback. We appreciate that. And we like to see a lot more people join us. We're here every Friday at 11 a.m. with Dr. Veronica M. Brooks and Mr. George Green, who's running for city council. That we may start calling him councilman down the line.
Yeah.
So when is that election taking place?
The election takes place May 3rd, first day.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, appreciate it, everybody. Thank you again for showing up. Thank you, Dr. Veronica Brooks. Thank you, George Green, for being here. We tackled some subject today. Not some, but we stayed on that one subject because everybody wants to know, and that's what we're here for, to let you know what's going on. Until next week, I'm Ronald Gordon, in Texas in Color, and we see everybody next Friday at 11 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Y'all have a good weekend.
You too. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Okay.